Um, so never in a million years did we think we'd be doing this video. This has been one of the scariest times for us, filled with anxiety, scared of not knowing the future.
We come from a background where religion is very important. We come from a culture where not a lot of things are accepted. It's either the old way or no way.
And we've always been taught to follow the rules. And we've been following these rules not only for us, but we've been following the rules to protect our family. We don't ever want to embarrass them. And the only way to do that was to hide who we were.
We know there's people out there that will not accept us. There's going to be family members that are going to look at us different. We don't know if we're going to be able to talk to certain kids anymore.
But the time has come where we can't hold ourselves back. We've had too much anxiety, and it's been a lot, and I just hope people understand where we're coming from, how much we've had to deal with this, and how much pain it's caused us. We have to take care of our own mental health, and we have not been doing that for the past 23 years, and it finally caught up to at least me. I think I've taken this the hardest, and it's not because of what I think people are going to think of me. It's more about my parents, and why am I gonna cry? So I care. No,
Keep going.
wait. So I care about 4 of my people: my mom, my dad, and Steph and Pedro. And other than that, I don't care. But
I'm gonna take it over for you. But we just feel horrible because we put them in a situation that they never asked for. We feel guilty, but we know we should never feel guilty because of what we are. But it's just horrible because they never asked to be put in this situation. They're the ones that are gonna have to protect us after we put this video out, and it's just a horrible feeling to know that they're gonna be in the crossfire and we're gonna be the ones back here being protected by them. And the reason why we're doing this on YouTube is because we know a lot of our family watches us from all different states and all different countries. We just decided, instead of going out to every single person and crying every single time, because that's what we do, we cry, we sob every single time, we're gonna put the video out there. A lot of people are not gonna agree with this, but again, we're at this point where we honestly are caring for ourselves. We don't care what anyone else thinks.
And we only want to come out once, and once only. We're tired of coming out at 18. We're coming and then waiting another 3 years and coming out to another set of people. It takes a toll on us, it takes a toll on our family, and it's time for us to just do it now or live with anxiety, which is not good. In order to give you a background of like why we are like this, why we've been holding it for 23, 24 years, we thought we should tell you our story of how we found out, how we came out. So, yeah.
So I knew when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was confused. I was like, wait, am I supposed to like both? Because I really thought I liked girls at the time, and that's honestly when I just started questioning things.
And for me, it was later, 6th grade, where I started realizing it.
So honestly, we didn't know what we were to each other. We never talked about it. But I remember from the age of 8 to 14, we would pray that God would change us. I personally planned to just not act on my emotions. I planned, there were certain times where I just planned that I wanted to move away and just not talk to any of my family members.
And for me, it was more of like, I'm never gonna do anything. I'm never going to go against my parents. I just prayed to God that I would find a girl to marry, and I just tried to brush it off, and we would often just ignore it.
And the thing that made it worse was when we were in school. I started getting asked questions when I was in 4th grade. People would ask me in front of my friends, are you gay? Why are you acting like a girl? And honestly, that was the worst feeling in the world, because every single time someone asked me that, I would turn red to the face. Right after that, I would want to cry, but I would have to hide it. And just after that, my whole mood would change with that person.
People don't understand that a simple question can do a lot of harm. Imagine a kid who's awkward. Imagine a kid who doesn't know themselves And for someone to come and ask them, "Are you gay?" was embarrassing, humiliating, and overall degrading. Until this day, unfortunately, I feel like I still have a resentment towards those people. I can literally name out the people who've asked these questions. We were bullied while we were in a soccer team for 2 years.
If you see the videos, like when we were when we had YouTube beforehand, we talked about how we hated soccer, and we never really explained why we hated soccer, but that was the biggest reason why. We just felt like we didn't fit in. We would just get called out all the time, made fun of, because of how we acted and stuff like that. You should never ask anyone what they are, never. And I honestly, not that I hate those people, but I'm very close to, because I can name every single one of them right now. I can name exactly where it happened. I could tell you the whole entire story front to back. And that's how you know how humiliating it was. Because once one thing is humiliating, it sticks to your head. For example, there was one time in our class, someone asked me that in front of my friends. There was another time in school where I was talking to 5 people. A girl just came up to us and just asked us the random question.
One of the craziest memories for me was I was in class one day and I had just made a friend, so I sat right behind her. So we had like a couple of minutes before class started. So she just turned around and she was like, "Are you gay?" And I'm like, "No, of course." I wasn't ready to say it and I was in denial. And she was like, "You can tell me, like, we're friends." And I'm like, "I'm not." And she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna stare at you until you tell me that you're gay. It's okay." So for 5 minutes, she stared at me and I just literally brushed it off. Never talked to her, still have her blocked. And I just hope people understand like how much that question is 3 words, but it does so much damage to a person who's uncomfortable with themselves, who doesn't know who they are. It's none of your business to find that out. People are battling their own situations, and it's not right that you feel like it's necessary to investigate.
Moving on, when I was 14, I finally had enough. I started crying, sobbing at night, and it was only Christian and I in the room.
So Jesse came out to me that night, and I was shocked because the first thing that he said was that he was going to talk to guys. And for me, that was a shock because our culture didn't allow that. And so he turned the question on me, and of course I denied it. I said I was bi, and I said I liked girls 90% and boys 10%. I knew that I was going to marry a girl, and we just talked about it all night, and we slept through it.
The next morning, we felt so guilty that we both wanted to come out to my mom, and the time came when she came back from work, and I just said it, and my younger brother was there.
Unfortunately, I was scared, terrified, so Jesse was the only person who came out that day, and I felt so bad because I didn't side with him.
But my mom at the time didn't accept it. It was very hard for her to accept it because she had never heard of it. So we honestly all just shut it out. This was the worst time though, because
literally, we both knew of each other. This was the first time of us knowing who we really were.
It was like we knew what we were, but we denied it completely. No one ever talked about it. It was a big elephant in the room for those 4 years. It was just a horrible experience.
And unfortunately, we felt like we could not be ourselves, so we would have pep talks. And if we were in public, we had a code. If I nudged him like this in public, that meant that I felt like he was acting too gay. And so that was a signal for him to stop acting gay, to calm down. And that was such a sad thing to realize now that
we tried to stop being who we were.
Yeah.
And the bullying continued, and this was worse because every single time someone said something, I just wanted to go out and just tell the world. But there were people in our school that knew our family. It was just going to be chaotic if we did. But there was an instance in 9th grade where we were doing like the test runs, whatever, sprints. And this guy says, "Oh, look, the gay twins in front of everyone." And we actually had a lesbian teacher. And I thought she was going to defend us, but she didn't.
We also had a situation where we were in lunch, and I will never forget Antonia Benavides. One of the girls that we knew across the table just turned around and said, hey twins, do you like girls? And then we're like, yes. And then she was like, do you like boys? And we're like, no. And she's like, are you sure? And we're like, yeah. And she just turned back around. And Antonia, she got so angry and she was like, I don't understand why people have to ask these questions. And it was such a little phrase that she said, but it helped me out so much. So thank you to her. I really appreciate it. I will always remember that. And throughout high school, we had other friends, Taylor, Williani, Tati, and Erica, and these girls kind of, they defended us because so many people were asking them questions. Are the twins gay? And they would just say, I don't know, it's none of my business. If you need to ask, go ask the twins. But we just want to say we really appreciate that because we didn't know at the time, but we had some people vouching for us, defending us.
And they never asked us, which was again amazing.
Yeah, and we appreciate that.
So fast forward to us graduating from high school at 18. I personally decided that I needed to go dorm.
But I felt like we were doing it for a different situation. We needed to do this not because I wanted to personally. It was more because I needed to see who I was. I needed to learn about myself, and I couldn't do that here.
So right before we moved to the dorms, Christian and I were in our room by ourselves, and our sister came in, and we were just hanging out like we always do. But Christian and I were already feeling like we had to say something before we moved. So we started feeling very anxious. And when you start coming out, when you start trying to come out, you start getting anxious, your tears start rolling, you get red in the face.
And you can't control it. It's something where if your body feels like you need to do it, you have to do it.
So we made eye contact and we just said it to our sister. And she started crying, but she told us, but the awesome thing was that she wasn't crying because we were gay, but she was just sad that we would think that she would never love us if we came out to her. And mind you, this was the first time Christian finally had ever came out to anyone. And our younger brother was there, Pedro.
And he wasn't actually in the room, but of course he heard us crying. He came in, and I was like, I'm gay too. And the funny thing is that Pedro literally was like, okay, and he sat down on the floor and just continued playing with his DS.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful.
Like, I am so, fast forward to now, I am so proud of my siblings, and that's why we love them so much. Fast forward to a week later, we were getting ready to go to church, and we just didn't want to go. And keep in mind that we had been going to church for every single Sunday before this since we were babies. And so we took our mom to a room and we just told her we didn't want to go to church. And of course,
I had to reiterate that I was gay to her.
And that was my moment. So I was like, Mom, what if I told you that I was gay too? And of course, our mother started crying, and it was hard, but I'm so thankful we had our sister there.
She automatically just jumped in, and she basically just told my mom that this wasn't a punishment to her, that we were born this way, that this is how God intended us to be. And we're really grateful for our sister, because if it weren't for her, I don't think my mom would have understood exactly what was going on. Never once did it cross our minds that we were going to tell my dad. Here and there, yes, I was going to say, let's tell my dad. But never would I had the guts to say it. He's from El Salvador. Over there, they are just strict. And I think, honestly, our relationship with our father was very strained because of this.
But throughout this time, we came out to our mom, Steph, Pedro, and we came out to our cousins, and it was great. But it was time to go dorm, and that was a new experience for us.
And it was honestly like a double life that we had.
Yeah, so everybody in school, everybody at work, internships, knew. And
but as soon as we came here, we shut off everything. Even we have earrings, we would take them off here. And that was really stressful, sad, and it was just not good for our mental health.
And keep in mind that we did tell our cousins, but our uncles, aunts, our extended cousins to not know. And like throughout 21 to 22, this is where we felt like the double lives were taking an impact on us. We felt like we couldn't be ourselves, and of course Jesse and I would just brush it off, and especially me, I would just put it in the back burner. I didn't think about it until about 1 month ago, where we went to dinner with with our friends, and out of nowhere we just started talking about how we still haven't told our dad. And I just remember Jesse and I talking at 18, and we made a pact that we would tell our dad before 23, and we're about to turn 24 on Wednesday. So that just put everything in perspective for me, and for 2 days straight I had anxiety. And I told Jesse, and again, after those 2 days, I brushed it off again, put it on the back burner.
2 weeks forward to that, which is literally like what, a month ago?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago, we're at Five and Below with our cousins, and we were talking about decorations for our 4th of July party.
They were asking us if there was going to be a theme.
And I said rainbow.
And unfortunately, I felt like I needed to stop Jesse from being himself. And it's not because he's crazy, no. It's because I felt like I needed to do that for my parents. But of course, I started to get some anxiety. And Jesse said, yeah, we need to come out to our father. He was the only person that we care about that was stopping us from being who we were. The bad thing about this was that I needed to go straight to Manhattan. I actually asked Jesse if he could come out for me. I told him I didn't feel like I was strong enough and I couldn't face my father. Jesse took all of the stress, anxiety for me, and it was a lot for him, and I'm grateful for that he did that for me, because unfortunately I wasn't strong enough. But that's why God had made us both, because we always joke about it now, like he dragged me through the finish line.
I told my dad that night, and to rip off the bandage, I told him we were going to do the video as well. And he was questioning everything. He was not understanding a lot of things, which is very understandable. But I told Christian how it went, and it didn't go well.
And I kind of listened to what he said, but it didn't really hit until the next day. The thought of them not accepting us or not supporting us in any way literally made me have a breakdown. The thought of this video embarrassing them just threw me off.
But for that week, Christian was in the city, and I had to deal with a lot of, like, I wouldn't say backlash, but a lot of, like,
backlash of coming from not understanding.
There was a lot of questions. There was some arguments. But we are proud to say that after that week, my dad is a ride or die.
Our 4 people have been amazing throughout these 3 weeks. We have given them 3 weeks to prepare.
It's just insane how ready our 4 people are. We're proud of them. They accept us. They accept this video. And honestly, it's just amazing how they all grew together with these 3 weeks. If anyone says anything to them, they're ready to fight. And we're ready to fight too. We're ready. We don't care what anyone has to say anymore. We don't care if it is an important person in our lives. If they don't want to be in our lives because of what we are, it is okay. And so is our family. Because our family is protecting us.
I feel like this is a huge lesson for our family. Like I said, it's not thought about. It's not a good thing in our family. And us coming out, I hope it puts their lives in perspective and makes them change their mind as to what is good and what is bad.
Yeah. We are the first people to come out from our whole family, extended family, and we're a huge family.
And we hope that we're paving the way to our future nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, cousins, anyone who goes through this. We hope that we took the burden off of them and given them a sense of comfortability, that they have an ally, that they have 2 people that support them. And we just hope that our family learns from this, and it's okay that this has happened.
So I think we're gonna cut it off here. But before we go,
we just want to say that no one chooses to be gay. We are grateful to have our mom and dad who love us unconditionally and have always loved us. And they have worked hard for us to have what we have today. And we're just grateful to have one another. And that includes our siblings as well. And to our uncles and aunts, cousins who are watching us right now, who just found out that we are gay. We hope that one day you can accept us for who we are. I know it's a lot, but hopefully you guys can understand where we're coming from.
We hope this video has touched everyone in that it shows what we've been through. It hasn't been an easy journey, but we're finally becoming happy with ourselves. And also, everyone who finds this video offensive, and we hope that one day you can accept us for who we are.
And I think that's it for us. I'm Christian.
And I'm Jesse.
And we are gay.